First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learn from. A healthy shalom to the whole for elect, preaching His word in truth and sincerity. And to you, ribs, to you sisters out there, learning the silence and staying in order. Right? First, let me just pull up the scripture. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 23, verse 6. Let not the greediness of the belly, nor the lust of the flesh take hold of me, and give not over me thy servant into an impotent mind. Right? This title, this lesson right here is addressing the polite situation. Right? This is major news, I guess, in the what's it called? The conscious community, and also the Hebrew, what's known as the Hebrew Israelite community, which GMS is not a part of. Right? So let's go back to the scripture. Let not the greediness of the belly nor lust of the flesh take hold of me. Right? Polite is known for being really good with his mouth and his words. He is a true serpent. Right? He is wise in his own. He's wise to his own devices, man, because he uses science. He uses his so-called intelligence to scam people. He was introduced through the conscious community by Sarnetta, and through that he used that avenue to scam people. We know that he's taught under Malachi Z. York, which is the biggest pedophile known in the history of Babylon. He had over 400 victims. Ridiculous amount, the most amount of victims for a sex offender. And this is who taught him. So it's no coincidence that this would happen to him. Right? You are of your father the devil, man. And the lust of the father you will do. So this man allowed this greediness, and he uses money and influence to attack this little girl. He attacked this little girl, man. She was 14, and he was dealing with the mother on top of that. And we know the scriptures say that you can't deal with a mother and a daughter. Right? Start from the top. Let not the greediness of the belly nor lust of the flesh take hold of me. Right? Because it blinds you, man. When you have a high desire of lust, you will not stop until that lust is quenched, man. And it'll destroy you. Right? So give not over me, and give not over me thy servant into an impotent mind. What is an impotent mind? This is in the Webster's Dictionary. It says, marked by contemptuous or cocky boldness or disregard of others. Right? He didn't regard nothing. He didn't think about the consequences or nothing. He thought that he was this big, powerful person that cannot be touched, and he could get away with this. He planned his attack, and he thought he could get away. That's how cocky he is. This is Sirach 23:6. Again, let not the greediness of the belly nor lust of the flesh take hold of me, and give not over me thy servant into an impotent mind. Right? Man, the level of hypocrisy that Polite carries, man. If y'all remember when he was with Sarnetta, pulling up on the elders, right, in New York, he was talking about little girls and this and that and blah blah. But secretly, But secretly he victimized this little girl, man. And that never, not once, man, has an Israelite, I believe an Israelite that we know that's in the truth, right, has done such an act, man, or was accused of such an act. It's disgusting. It's the book of Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus, chapter 20, verse 4. As in the lust of a eunuch to deflower a virgin, right? A eunuch is a man who either can't have sex, has his member cut off, or is practicing abstinence, right? He's always got that burn inside of him, right? And a virgin is an untouched woman, man. It's a most desired woman. So imagine how much lust does a eunuch have for a virgin. And virgin in the scriptures really means a young damsel, right? A woman just flowering, meaning having her menstrual cycle, right? This eunuch is naturally attracted to a virgin. It says as the lust of a eunuch to deflower a virgin, so is he that executed judgment with violence, right? Because it's a burning, like, extreme feeling, and the outcome is the release, which is the violence, right? And a eunuch wants to release himself onto a virgin, man, with all this burning passion that he had. That's what he had, man. He was waiting for this child for years. You know, and the first time this lady lets him be by himself, you know, he like a lion bounced on a prey, man. He jumped on her. He drugged her. He got her drunk, made her pass out, and then he tortured her with his body part. Man, the Lord is cold, man. You're gonna sit there and mock the elders and try to make a foolery and shoot up the Bible, and the Lord just took you out, man. The Lord took you out the same way that you basically made your influence, right? Saying the black woman is God, science is everything, right? You got DNA'd, right? DNA evidence, which you had said on video that you cannot refute, right? And the woman is the one that ended your career, man, through Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man. Embarrass you. Call Allah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai for that. It's a victory for Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. This conscious community took a big blow. Because technically, at one point, Polite was a backbone to that community. He was gluing everything together. But the Lord came and destroyed that, man. Gave him 7 years, man. That number is completion. The Lord's judgment on Polite was completed that day. And Lord willing, because I know he's got 2 more charges, I believe, pending. I hope they throw that man out of the jail, man. Right? I'm not with the Romans taking Israelites in, you know, for crimes, but this crime right here, man, it's different. Lord has a victory on Egyptology, so-called Egyptology. This is Job chapter 15, 34. For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate. Right? This man, like I said, was mocking and making it seem like brothers was out there, you know, snatching bodies up like they did back in the days. And according to scriptures. And we're not gonna get too deep into it, not get off topic, but you know, he made it seem like he would never do such a thing like that. Here he is, man, 2023. Using drugs, using alcohol, and victimizing his wife's daughter in 2023. Is this what Egyptology does? right? It says, well, the scriptures talk about go not in the way of the heathen, right? Because they was doing that kind of stuff in Egypt. That's why they don't have a problem with that, and they made it seem like as if they don't. From the top, Job 15:34, for the congregation of the hypocrites shall be desolate, right? That conscious community stuff is bullcrap, and the Lord has put a stain on that. It says, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. Man, that's cold, man. Knowing that this man has scammed so many people, he's the forefront, the face of Egyptology in a sense. Right? They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, right? Because their God's nothing but vanity. Their teachings, everything. Get you nowhere. Egyptology cannot save you out this captivity, although they believe it. It says, and their belly prepareth deceit. Right? Everything that comes out of that man's mouth is lies. The day after his sentence, he says all charges dropped on his social media. Look it up. Polite is a delusional, deranged, psycho narcissist. That's what he is. And it's disgusting. But guess what? You're not going to sit here and speak about the men of the Lord and get away with it. The Lord's not going to allow that. Right? The Lord's going to show himself on you. Call law Yahweh Hashem Yahushua for that. This is Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. It reads, be not deceived. Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua is not mocked. For whosoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. You see? You made it seem like you had an issue with one thing, and you go out here and do it in the most heinous, disgusting way, man. Right? Because the man of the Lord is spiritual, man. And the scriptures, man, is our comfort. And you shut the Bible up, man. Use a carnal weapon against a spiritual weapon. And the Lord said he's not mocked. And he got you, man. Verse 8, for he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Man, what a beautiful knockout Yahweh Hashem Yahushua has put on this man. I've been waiting for this for a while. I ain't gonna lie. Cause when I came into this truth, when I learned about this truth, it was around the time where Polite was coming out, and from the beginning, man, he was a menace, in a sense, to some Israelite camps, but yet he couldn't move the scriptures, man. He couldn't. There's nothing he could have done, even with the lowest level of how do I say this? A brother that knows not that much on the scriptures could confound Polite. That's how powerful this thing is, man. This is Job, chapter 24. I'm going to start at verse 22. He that draweth also the mighty with his power. He draweth also the mighty with his power. Right? He brings them in, right? He sets them up. He says he rises up, and no man is sure of life. Right? Like he did to Pharaoh, man. He rose that man up, hardened his heart. The Lord did that. Why? It's a setup. It's to set his ass up. Polite got rich off of this, man. He allowed him to get rich. As a matter of fact, all right, so we're in 2023. It's about 2013. I think it was 10 years. 10 years he had a run, a good run. He says, he draweth also the mighty with his power. He riseth up, and no man is sure of life. Why? Because there's no will, man. There's no self-will. There's nothing you could do. The Lord controls everything. Right? Verse 23. Though it be given him to be in safety, right? He allowed him to do this thing for a little while, man. Yeah, you got your cool little money, right? But it was all a setup. Whereon he rested. He was cool, man. He's doing his thing. Celebrities, started calling him. He's scamming people. It's still thriving, right? This incident happened in his vacation, so he was resting, right? It says, yet his eyes are upon his ways. The Lord's watching this man. You thought you was cool, man. The Lord's watching you. The eyes of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai are brighter than the sun, 10 times brighter than the sun. Right? Verse 24, they are exalted for a little while, but are gone and brought low. They are taken out of the way as all others, and cut off as the tops of the ears of the corns. Wow, man. Because the top of the ears of the corn is useless. You don't need those. This man is useless. And the Lord made you this popular, man, and brought you down low, as how he did to Pharaoh. That's it on that. Well, Salakia, I also want to play the audio. Matter of fact.
Effective assistance of counsel with whom he says he is satisfied. I find the defendant has knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waived his rights. All statutory fines, court costs, and surcharges will be assessed. Counsel, do you waive PSI? Yes, Your Honor, waive PSI. Now, Mr. Noah, you do understand, as I mentioned to you before, that the state, as they had articulated earlier, you may be eligible for early termination as long as certain conditions are met. That means no violations. You've done everything that you were supposed to do. You've not been arrested for any criminal offense, and the state is in agreement with it as well as the court's ratification. On the other hand, sir, if you violate any terms and conditions of this probation, and that includes getting arrested for any other criminal offense, then you could be subject to the maximum period of time in prison, which by my calculations is 61 years state prison. You do understand that?
Yeah.
And knowing all of this, do you still wish to enter into this plea?
Yes.
All right. The court finds the defendant, as I mentioned before, understands the nature of the charges against him and the consequences of this plea, that he has been represented by competent and effective assistance of counsel with whom he says he is satisfied. I find the defendant is knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waived his rights. All statutory fines, court costs, and surcharges will be assessed. Is there anything further as it relates to Mr. Noack? I do have on the Zoom that the victim's mother wanted to address the court.
Correct. And Your Honor, nothing more from the state except to let Your Honor know if you can unmute the victim's mother, and she will be listed as victim Noack in the Zoom. And she is requesting, pursuant to Marcy's law, that her identity remain anonymous. So for that reason, she will not be stating her name, but she will be making a statement regarding this.
Where would it
It
be?
should say victim and then in parentheses Noack. Nope, sorry. You see it when it says victim, nope.
Okay, yes, 1 second. All right, you may unmute, ma'am.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. All right, so what I'd like you to do is, well, you don't want to give your name. So at this point, just go ahead and you can give us an impact statement. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Michael Noack, this is the first time I have spoken publicly about what you've done to my daughter and I. I have gracefully remained silent the last 2.5 years. 2.5 years of pain, shock, disbelief, PTSD, constant nightmares, and daily triggers. Trying to help my daughter heal when I'm not even healed myself. What you have done to my daughter, myself, and my entire family is inexcusable. You hurt us all. You made me believe that you were such a great man and you could do no wrong. You made me fully trust you, and for that, my daughter trusted you too. But the truth is, you're a monster, a demon. The very first time that I allowed you to be alone with my daughter, the very first time you couldn't even help yourself. You told me you was gonna be right back. You were going downstairs. We were gonna grab food and take vacation pictures. You told me that you wanted to have a one-on-one talk with her about loving and respecting me as a great mother that I was and am. And I actually believed you. I believed that you were gonna bring her right back. I thought you were gonna have this trusting conversation with her that you promised me. Her and I both trusted you. For a grown man to violate a child who trusted him, you should be ashamed of yourself. You plotted on me and my little girl. The entire time you knew what you planned to do. Isolate, intoxicate, then violate my baby. Shame on you. I trusted you to bring her right back. You were supposed to bring her back the same way that you took her. Instead, you drugged her and took advantage of her. You sexually abused her. You forced alcohol down her throat. You then forced her to see things that no child should ever have to see. You forced her to feel things that no child should have to feel. You forced her to accept violence that no child should ever have to endure. You forced drugs in her that no human should ever even ingest. She's my child. My baby. How could you? How could you? You could have killed her with all the drugs that were found in her system.
Damn.
And you thought your master plan was mapped out perfectly, huh? You thought I'd be dumb enough to believe you over my child. And you thought that money would blind me. You thought I was gonna be so blinded that I wouldn't notice when you returned her with bruises all over her body and her mouth busted, uncontrollably shaking. Absolutely not. And although you executed your plan and you got what you wanted those couple of hours, you actually failed. Because look where you're at right now. You have created a lifetime of trauma for my daughter and I. Before you, we never knew evil existed. You brought so much evil into our lives that early morning, and I'll never forget. I called you like 50 times and you wouldn't answer me. And I called her too, but you took her phone. You drugged my baby and you gave her no way to seek help. You left me no way to contact her or even know where she was. I get physically sick now whenever I'm away from my daughter because of you. Something as simple as her going to school, I'm in panic mode. Because I'm scared when she comes back, she's gonna be hurt all over again. I constantly have flashbacks of that night. And what she lives with is not okay. She feels uncomfortable around people and will live with this forever, and this is not fair to her. She never deserved this. Shame on you for forcing evil on our youth. And you know, for a year, I questioned, how could you even do this to us? Her and I did nothing wrong to you. We trusted you. I moved across the country because I believed everything that you told me. But it was pure manipulation I see now. All you do is specialize in selling false dreams. How could you do this to an innocent child and mother who simply trusted you? We did nothing wrong. But you know what? I'm done breaking my head trying to question or figure out how you could do such a thing. It's so simple to me now. You're just a sick man. A man you can have a plethora of women, but you secretly prefer to have a child. And it's so clear now. I will never be able to fully trust another person due to the betrayal that you've shown me. And for that, I was not willing to trust 6 strangers and go to trial. Nor was I going to put my daughter through an additional trauma. This plea was in our best interest. You and I both know the evidence is extremely substantial. But even with that, I refuse to have my child be tormented when she's done nothing wrong. All she holds is the truth. And I will say this, although you were so worried about being labeled a sex offender, you did us a huge favor by admitting to guilt, period. So for that, I thank you. I truly thank you. Yes, mitigation took place and I allowed it as long as it meant you going to prison and you getting true help. Because true help means no more victims. The fact that your only non-negotiable was to accept a sex crime shows exactly the type of man that you are. You know what you did in that hotel room. I know what you did, and my daughter knows what you did. DNA doesn't lie. There's no reason why your DNA should have been found on my baby. And yes, I satisfied your bogus request to not be labeled a sex offender, but it doesn't take away from who you truly are. I wasn't going to waste any time going back and forth with you over a label. God will judge you for exactly the person he knows you to be, a sexual predator. So rest assured, jail time equals jail time. And I pray that during your 10 years of sex offender probation, you actually receive the treatment that you need and it helps heal your sick mind and get the thoughts of being with children out of it. All you care about is your pretend image. But I know exactly who you are now. You want to be this public figure, but you want to do all your evil acts in secret. You're so self-centered. That's why the last time I saw you on February 27, 2021, you fought me. You tried to hold me hostage from taking my daughter to the hospital. I'll never forget that cowardly look in your eyes. I'll never forget it. You were so scared. You were so scared because you realized you messed with the wrong one. Your last words to me, you held me and said, please don't go. You're going to ruin my career. Well, today, September 6th, 2023, my last words to you are, I hope the next 17 years of your life, you're reminded of the disgusting, terrifying, unforgettable act that you've done to my innocent daughter. Shame on you. And although you've caused a tremendous amount of trauma for myself and my daughter, we will always be superior of you, because a successful, honest career is something that you can never, ever have. We will both continue to stand against violence. My daughter will continue to persevere and be bright and intelligent and courageous young woman that she is. So Michael Nowak, I hope you enjoy prison, and God bless you.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your courage for speaking.
As you've seen or heard, the mother is extremely distraught, right? Oh, man. I can't even imagine what she's going through. But that's what he does, man. The Lord allows you to, be successful, man, and then bring you down. Same thing he's gonna do to this wicked kingdom, man. Bring up one last precept. It's the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 17. For the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, might be declared throughout the earth. With that, I'm going to say Shalom.